The Los Angeles Rams select John Johnson, defensive back, Boston College.
Boston College has joined the party, and it's the safety, John Johnson.
Yeah, 6'1.5", 208. He didn't have a lot of fanfare, but he developed, I thought, throughout his career into a solid prospect on. Good feel and coverage, ball skills. He had 6 career interceptions. He's not one of those highlight, real tight tacklers, but he can break down in space. Made a few nice stops in the game I saw.
Yeah, I think one thing with him is he had a really good week at the Senior Bowl in terms of his coverage, man-to-man coverage and zone coverage. I think a lot of people got excited about that, as they should. The thing that really drove me crazy watching his tape, inconsistent angles and a lot of missed tackles. He's got to clean that area of his game up. I thought, he's willing, he's aggressive, he'll get up there and mix it up. It's not a toughness question, it's just the instincts and the angles when it comes to defending the run. But 37-inch vertical, 6'7", 3-cone, which is one of the 5 top results of defensive backs at this year's combine. And like I said, then you see those man-to-man skills in addition to the range, and there's a lot to work with here. I think this is the right spot for him to come off the board, and I think going to the Rams, it's a good opportunity for him to work as probably a sub-package player early on.
With the 92nd pick of the 2017 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, picks Jourdan Lewis, DB, Michigan.
Well, Mel, your best available is now off the board, but the reason that he's here is because there are some issues around Jourdan Lewis. March 15th, he was accused of grabbing his then-girlfriend by the neck in a dispute at the couple's apartment. He entered a plea of not guilty on account of 1 misdemeanor of domestic violence. There will be a jury trial that's scheduled in Ann Arbor for July 24th. So there are some things that they're going to have to deal with. As for the tape, Mel, what do you see?
Well, in a conference, Todd, with a lot of great defensive backs, he was one of the best cover guys you'll ever find. All-time leader. And think about this number. 45 career pass breaks is remarkable. Watching Michigan, fun to watch. He's blanketing receivers all over the field. Good ball skills. He's just not real big. Doesn't have tremendous speed.
Stop it, Mel. This guy was the best player on the board 30 picks ago, 40 picks ago.
Wow.
He's the best nickel cornerback in this draft. I understand why he fell, but I don't know that there's a better cornerback in terms of cover instincts and the ability to stay in the hip pocket of a receiver. I loved his toughness, too. He outside of the speed, reminds me a lot of Jason Verrett. He's small, he has quickness, he has great mirror ability, he reads receivers' routes before they break, has unbelievable instincts. He gave up the least amount of separation of any cornerback in this class, and he doesn't mind. In fact, he loves mixing it up versus
Where was he on your big board?
35 overall. I didn't care about anything else. This guy's a football player.
Well, Lou, you look at this board, it's pretty clear what they were addressing. They need a pass rush and they needed help in the secondary.
Yeah, they had to totally revamp the secondary, and they had to get some players who can get after the passer. Look, they still have work to do, but it's a good start.
Steelers on the clock.
To announce the Green Bay Packers selection, please welcome from the University of Toledo, linebacker, Jourdan Elliott.
Man, it's a blessing to be up here. Cool things only. With the 93rd pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Montravious Adams, DN, Auburn. Thank you.
All right, so the Packers now go defensive line. The kid, Montravious Adams, out of Auburn.
Carlos Watkins, Clemson still available. You think about a guy like Jaleel Johnson at Iowa, and they take Montravious Adams, who had his fair share of good games. Think about him along the interior. Think about a guy 6'3.5", 304 pounds with good quickness. Had some impressive performances this year. The Georgia game, you look at that game, you thought he was a high pick. Same thing with LSU. There are other games where he wasn't as much of a factor. Consistency was an issue. That's why a guy with all his talent, Todd, drops into the late 3rd round.
I studied his tape coming into this past season. So 2015 tape, thought he was a day 3 pick. Contract year though in 2016. he was awesome. I thought he was awesome this past year. Disruptive. He dominated some good interior players. And listen, there's some inconsistency always with the motor on these defensive linemen, but I thought his tape this year compared to last year was completely different, and that is a big red flag, and that's why a player with probably late first, second round ability winds up here.
Georgia and LSU game.
Hey, I'll tell you what, this is a multi-positional player, though, that right now you're starting to see the big men come off the board, just like we talked about at the beginning of the show. You can't let these guys just keep sliding. You're not going to get them in the 4th and 5th round, especially a kid like this who lined up in a 2-point stance and rushed the passer